All righty.
Okay. Welcome to the There's No Crying in Business show, episode 3. We've got Adhis Boucha on the line today, and I wanted to welcome all of our viewers and people who've come in for us. So, Raven, tell me about your week.
This has been a really, really strange week. And I don't know about any of you, but I hate daylight savings time. I mean, I absolutely hate daylight savings time. In fact, I vow to vote for the presidential candidate that promises to eliminate daylight savings time. That's the only thing I'm judging for. That's the only requirement. Just get rid of it. But it's been a very strange week. I've had some really, really amazing, huge things happen that it's going to affect everybody in my direct sales tribe, but I can't tell you yet. So you'll just have to, over the next couple of weeks, it's going to rock your socks off. And let's see, videos. Tomorrow, you guys get to watch me cluck like a rooster, which is going to be fun. Actually, don't watch. And then next week, we have got our Party Game Profits training. So make sure you sign up for that. If that's all that's been going on in my life, how about you, Mathia?
I agree with daylight savings time, but at least my kids' school got smart on spring break this week. So they're on spring break. And so it wasn't as painful as it could have been. And I work from home, so it's kind of nice to be able to relax a little bit and not have to worry so much. But I do get up every morning and do the Miracle Morning stuff with Hal Elrod's book. And I do like exercise and mumbo jumbo, affirmations, meditations, well, all that stuff. So I still do that. But this week, I've just been getting more inventory, and I wanted to ask the audience or anybody that watches this if you have questions about Amazon. I'm thinking about doing an Amazon webinar, and I'd love to hear what questions you guys have about selling on Amazon, because that's what I do with my time. And the other thing I did was, I know nobody else would be excited about this, but I got my tax return finished. Yeah. And I owed about $4,000 less than I thought I was going to owe.
Oh, that's a good day.
I all of a sudden had $4,000 to spend. So I was like, woo, even though, it still owes money, but, so that was exciting for me this week, which is kind of strange. I know, but anyway.
But I love that you said that you had $4,000 more to spend. That is spoken like a true shopper. Luckily, you have a hobby like Amazon to take care of it for you.
Yeah, we were talking about that on Facebook the other day, about how buying stuff for Amazon really helps you with that obsession. And it also makes you obsessed to buy things as cheap as possible. You're always looking for those extra dollars off, or is there a sale, or is there a coupon, or whatever. So anyway, so, all right. Guest today to bless us with their presence. It's Adhis Boucha, and Adhis is known as the New Money Mama, and her specialty is helping entrepreneurs shift their money blocks. So she's been in business for about 20 years, and she's been on seminars and speaks at conferences. And she offers a free guide on her website, which I'll post the link to in our live chat here in just a minute. If you want to get to know her better, she has a free guide on there. And she also helps people find their gifts and acts as a mentor to help people find money in their budgets and a fortune in their minds.
That's right.
So, Adhis, I have a question for you. I'd like you to introduce if you have anything else you'd like to say. But what are some common money blocks that you help people with? What is the most common things that you find that you're helping people with?
Yeah, most common blocks, people will come to me and they'll say something like, I'm making more money, but I don't feel I'm making more money. I don't know where it's going. Or they'll say like, I have this idea, but I don't even know how to make money with it. So it's like emerging entrepreneurs, they're aspiring to it. The other one is where people will do things that sabotage more money coming into their life. Whether it's like stepping away from their business, they say, oh, I need to take a break. And they don't realize like they're losing momentum in their business. The other one is stepping away from growth. So like they get this huge idea and they know that it'll work. And then they just do these things that it's like shying away from growth, even though they want the growth, even though they want increased income and they want more business and more team members. That's actually usually when they come to me is they say, I have this huge, big, hairy goal and I need your help getting it because I see myself doing things, avoiding it. I would say, yeah, that's the one that people are coming to me the most lately. Yeah.
Probably pretty common too, isn't it?
Oh yeah.
I know I can identify with all that.
Absolutely. I find that.
Yeah. I actually had to double check my ears when I heard that you had been in business for 20 years. There's no way. You just look way, way too young for that.
Oh,
yes.
So I started in kindergarten, so
there
yeah.
You go. Oh.
No, you're so
no, yeah. Oh, thank you. I'm sweet. You're beautiful. We're good. So this show is There's No Crying in Business. And what we really like to talk about and to get to the heart of is we would love for you to share with us a moment in your business that you felt like either crying or giving up. It could be something you laugh at now, and it could be something that you still try not to cry about. But we would love to hear your crying or not crying moment, as it is.
I have to say that I laughed when I saw the name of your show, There's No Crying in Business, because I think business, that crying is kind of inherent in it. It will make you cry at some point. And the first one that came to my mind was, I think it was when I held my second or third event. And I hold training events, whole day events in my area, right? Mm-hmm. And it was successful. We had it was my second event. I had 70-something women there. It was raved about. I kept getting great, awesome reviews from my past event. People bought my offer. And at the end of the event, I wasn't happy. I was drained. I was drained. And that night, I'm like, I don't want to do this ever again. And then the next day, I had one assistant and I had some volunteers, but one paid assistant. She turned in her bill to me, and it was stuff I didn't expect that I was going to have to be paying for. And every time she turned in a receipt or a bill or something, my energy dropped more and more and more. And I did. I actually broke down crying, I don't even want to do this anymore. People bought my offer and I don't even have the energy to serve them. And so I pushed the beginning of that program back by a few weeks because I just couldn't do it. I wanted to quit. And what happened is I was so burnt out because my first event, I had 50-something women and I did all by myself, registration, the sound, everything, right? I don't know how I did it, but this time, even with one person, it just felt like I was putting more in my business than I was getting back in energy and enthusiasm. For me, it was I was getting great results, but I was making it happen and I was draining myself. And part of it, I look back now, is that I didn't trust enough to delegate because I felt what I found out in my emotions as my assistant, she did a great job and she's still my assistant today. But at the time I felt like people are always taking from me. They took my energy, she took my money, they took my time. And I really was so burned out that I had a colleague, and she's the one who encouraged me to start New Money Mama. And she said, Adhis, how long are you going to be in business right now with the way you're feeling? How long do you think you'll stay in business? I'm like, I can't see myself feeling this way more than 2 months. And then if I don't do something different, I'm closing the doors. I can't do it anymore. And so I would have to say that was a defining moment for me where I realized I had to do something different. Something different did come along. I won't go into that yet, but something different did come along. And I started finding relief, a system way of taking off so much weight on me, because when we start in business, it's just us, right?
Yep.
We're the accountant, the marketer, the creator, the trainer, a website developer. So that's what it was. It was so draining. That's when I felt like crying. Like, how the heck am I supposed to do all this and be a mom and be a wife, you know? So that's my crying moment. It was hard. It was hard. I was so close to quitting, so close.
Overwhelm and burnout. I've experienced that multiple times, and I don't think that I didn't cry. So what was it like when you did finally? You said you've worked it out, and you'll tell us about that in a few moments here. But what did it feel like when you made it through? You know, when it was okay. I recognize what those feelings are. I've moved on from those. What was the difference?
The difference was it felt like, I remember the moment I was sitting with a mentor and some colleagues, and I realized that, bless you.
Thank you.
So I realized then that some of the goals that I thought were like 5 years away, they felt closer. Because at the moment where after I worked it out and I was feeling relief and a way of dealing with things, I realized that the only thing that was keeping me away from, for example, this was India, that I knew I would be training in India. I realized the only thing that was keeping me from there was me. Just me carrying all this baggage of having to do it all alone. So when I got to that other side, I was like, oh my gosh, oh, I'm so excited again. And in fact, I said, I love my business again. I'm so in love with my business. It's amazing. And I love it. And everybody was like, yay. And I'm like, and I have felt that way since, you know, and that was a couple of years ago. I have felt that way since. Like, I love my business. I love what it does for me. I love what it does for other people. And do I have no challenges in business? No, there's challenges every time I grow, but I get excited. I get the jitters, but I get excited like, okay, it's happening. All right, here we go. You know, so it's exciting. It feels good. It feels fun. I mean, most of us start business because we have a bliss that we're looking for, whether it's time freedom or learning to express some talent or passion. And if we're not careful, we turn that bliss business into hell, you know? And so it's all about turning it back into that bliss, that excitement, you know? So it feels good.
Well, great. I imagine that when people move through their money blocks, they feel that elation too.
They do. The main thing is people need to feel hope. If you feel hope that things are getting better, then you'll keep going forward. So yeah, it's regaining hope.
I love that. So I do want to know how you did make it through that block then.
Okay, so I had that colleague who had asked me, what are you going to do? I noticed that she was going through a training with a mentor, right? And I had heard of this mentor before, but I felt a little bit like unsure. Like, I don't know anything about her, but I feel drawn to her. And so the thing that I've had mentors before, I've invested like tens of thousands of dollars in mentors. What happened at this particular person's training, it was the weekend, and it's mostly comprised of like retreats. So you go to retreats and you're with other business people. And as I was sitting in that 3-day retreat, we had a break, and at the time they were held in these mansions. So I'm up in the balcony looking down at the kitchen where everybody is like getting their food. And I remember at that moment, I looked down and I'm like, oh, I'm home. And the feeling of home was that I had people that I could take my mask off and say, it is hard. I felt like quitting. And they're like, oh yeah, girl, I felt like quitting 3 months ago. Or they're like, I'm probably going to feel like quitting in about a week. You know, it's all right, you know. And so just the fact that we could like talk about the unsexy part of business took a lot of weight off me. The second thing that this mentor did for me is that she helped me systemize the things I was doing. I was carrying everything on myself. And so it's like, okay, you need systems and you need people. So let's figure out where you need systems and people to fill in those holes. So it's not you by yourself, you know? And I thought, oh, okay, because before I would hire people here and there, but I didn't know what to have them do. But now that she was guiding me on what systems I needed in place, I could hire somebody and know exactly what I needed them to do before I found them. So when I found them, I'm like, oh, you match what I'm looking for. And so it really was to learn how to trust and to be vulnerable. For me, that's what it was. I mean, Brene Brown is so known for her TED Talk on vulnerability. And I got to say, that has been a lifesaver for my business. We often think we have to go and be like suits and jackets and be perfect business people. And really, if we just say, wow, this is hard, or I'm in uncharted territory, or I got to get, so I guess I would say this, ladies, we need tribes. So we need to build our tribe. We need, in our tribe, we need our mentors, right? And then we need our fans and followers who help like market, word of mouth, and excitement, enthusiasm. But then we need like our tribe that's like our colleagues that we can just like really resonate with, and they understand our journey too. Because no matter how supportive like our spouses or our friends might be who are not in business, they really don't quite understand what it's like to be in business. And so for me, it helped to have that compassion and sympathy around me. And to admit, I just didn't know everything, and let me learn from you, and I'm not perfect. So I think for me, it was just opening up to relationships I wasn't open to before, you know?
That's actually how Mathia and I met. Well, no, we met at a conference, but then we went on a retreat together, right? Well, it was was it a few months later? It feels like so long ago, but like yesterday at the same time.
Yeah, it was like NAMS.
Was it in August or was it the one before? Anyway.
Like a year ago that you guys met last year?
Yes. Yeah.
Oh.
And we, I'm trying, now we're both thinking, it was in April.
No, it was in April. It was April. It was, yes. I'm thinking, yes,
it was in April. And then in October, we spent a few days in a beach house together with other women entrepreneurs that, you know, we're not the same, but we're very similar. And so it was, and it was a combination of business and social. And the social was just as important as the business, because just being able to connect with somebody who gets it, you know, you can go home and tell your family all about what you did. Well, you are home. You can, you can tell your family about all of what you've done with your business during the day, but eventually you get that glazed look in their eyes and they just don't get it.
Yes.
And just knowing that somebody understands you is just 90% of the battle.
Yes. And that physical like interaction with people, like virtual interaction is awesome. When you actually take the next step and make that a physical interaction with other tribe people, that like, well, if you look at the brain, so one of the things I do in my business is I deal with the woo-woo, right? Like vision boards and declarations, all that stuff. But I also deal with the psychology of how our brains work. And when we actually interact, especially with women, we have hormones that are released in our brain that makes us feel good, makes us feel hopeful. So if you're interacting with other people and it's about something that you're passionate about, it actually causes a chemical change in your brain that fuels you back up to be able to serve more. So, I mean, I had known that technically for years, and then to finally like experience it myself when I was feeling down, I was like, oh my gosh, science is true, you know?
I just think it's wonderful to be able to have someone say to you, hey, I've been through that. You know, I've, like you said, when those women said, I'm going to have a nervous breakdown next week, or I'm going to feel like quitting next week. You know, you're like, okay, I'm not the only person in the universe that feels like that. Even though you know it logically, emotionally, you feel like I'm not cut out for this because I felt like quitting, when really that's the moment where you show, because you get past it, you show that you have what it takes because you didn't quit. That's right. And so you get involved, and then you start finding other people that are, you know, going through that same thing, and you're able to connect with them. And that's what makes it wonderful, and it fills you back up, like you said. So,
yes. Yes.
I know for me, it's when I get into that mode, a lot of times it's just a shift of perspective. You know, it's and it's talking with others who understand and maybe looking at the same thing in a different way. And there's beauty in that, being able to, what? Because we own our businesses. We can run them how we want to. Isn't that wonderful?
Yes.
And we're our own bosses. So we're the only ones that really have to be able to say, yes, do this, or no, don't do that. There's something absolutely phenomenally beautiful about being in control of one's own destiny.
There is, but that there's like a double-edged sword, right? Because we're also like our worst critics, and we're the boss, and so we're like, oh man, the boss just told me I suck,
Yeah.
It's really hard, because here's the thing: no matter how sophisticated we think we are, more than the Romans or like cavemen or whatever, our brains are still designed the same in the sense that it's the emotional brain that makes the decisions. So at the end of the day, no matter how much data we take in, it's the emotional brain that says, yes, we're great. No, what do you think you're doing? And so it's so important to address that emotional brain. And so that's why it's good to find other people, because it triggers the same place in the brain that contains all the emotions. And that's really what's going to get your business to grow. I mean, don't we know some people who are like super talented or awesome singers, but they don't do anything with it? Like, it's like, you could be making money at this, or they're really smart, or they're great singers. Why aren't they famous? Why aren't they making money with their voice or with their talent? Well, it's because they have these little voices in their head that is making the decision, this emotional thing. And so that's why I love working with entrepreneurs, because they already have talent. But if we could get the emotional thing out of the way, they would progress to the goals that they want. And then we see people who have, mediocre talent, and they make a lot of money. But it's because they're emotionally confident, right? They're like, well, I'm just going to do it. I have no fear. And we're like, I mean, think about McDonald's. McDonald's, they serve the best hamburgers in the world, right?
Yeah. No. They serve the best marketed hamburgers in the
salads
world.
Are terrible too.
That's right. And it takes confidence to market yourself. Might as well get the people who have the real talent and give good value and like boost their emotions and their emotional brain and get those issues cleared out so that they can bring quality service and quality products to the market. I mean, why would we allow mediocrity to be like the main product on the market? So so all those things that you guys mentioned, like when you were talking about Miracle Morning, Mathia, I love that.
Yeah.
You got to have miracle mornings. You got to address that brain, so that you are willing and courageous in connecting with other people. Because if we don't get that mess in our heads, then we're like, I don't want to see anybody. I want to be by myself, And then we're like cutting off that fuel in our brain that keeps us going, so that when we are crying in business, we can like get out of that quicker because we have a support system we allow in our space,
I was going to ask you, it just popped into my head when you were talking there about people with their, your, negative reel that you have going in your head. How do you identify that? Because it can be so quiet and just whisper.
Yes.
And it's got a little whisper campaign going on and you don't even notice. Until one day you're saying it out loud and somebody says to you, why did you just say that? And then you're like, because I've had this mind control thing going on. So how do you help people identify that? Or how do they, find those voices that are keeping them back?
Okay.
One voice.
Usually multi-sort of voices, honestly. So I have several exercises or processes or writing journaling techniques that I use in order to start identifying the voices that are playing in your head. The first thing I personally do, and I find out what is it that people want. What is that you want? Okay, well, where is it that you are right now? And then if the results aren't matching what people want, I know there are voices there. And here's the thing, I've been trained in like mentoring and finance. I used to be a financial counselor. I've been trained in body language. And so when I'm talking with someone on the phone, even with all that training, I also have intuition. I'm just going to be honest with you. So I listen, and there in my head, there are words that they say that goes bing, like in my head. It like sticks out. And I'm like, that's interesting. And so I I write when I'm listening to people speak, and my hand will naturally circle some words that they say, and I'm like, oh, there's the problem right there. And so I'll say, so tell me about, whatever the word is. And they'll say, well, that has nothing to do with money. Well, and then it takes them down a different line. And sometimes I get little messages. I'm like, okay, so tell me about when you were 4 years old and you felt like blah, 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 whatever it is that came to my mind. And they'll say, oh, that's when my dad left us, or that's when. And so I really use intuition and I listen to words, right? And then the reason I do that is because I want to expedite their process. And so once I know what the belief is that's there, the first one, because there's several, but the first one, I'll have them explore it through a journaling technique. And all we're doing is we're looking for all the things that have supported that lie up to this point.
Mm-hmm.
And then I put them through a process that allows them to release that lie. But here's the thing. Most people will, I'm just going to write and burn, and I'll get rid of it and it'll be gone, which is good. But think about when you clean out a closet or cabinet in your house. How long does it stay empty?
Yeah.
Usually you're cleaning it out because you don't have room.
Yes, exactly. And I mean, if we look at nature teaches us that anytime we clear out a space of land, if we leave it unattended, nature will fill it back up. So once we empty out the space through these exercises and through me pinpointing those beliefs that are basically driving your business, we have to plant it with something new. And we have to be intentional. Just like a garden, it's like, okay, if I do nothing, weeds will grow. But what do I want to grow there? Okay, I want tomatoes, bell peppers. We have to be intentional. Then we have to nurture those plants. We got to put Miracle-Gro or whatever nutrients you like to put in to make your plants grow. And so we have to go through a process and it's not because of woo-woo, but I mean, woo-woo works. I'll tell you that part. And I tell my clients, you take it as woo-woo as you want, girl. I want to tell you, psychologically, this is what happens. Our brains likes closed circuits, things that, if we don't have all the information, it fills in the blanks with whatever best logic it knows. And so we've got to give our brain symbolism of how to make sense of a false belief that hasn't been serving us. And so we fill in the blanks to make your brain feel like, okay, that's completed. And what does it mean? And what's the purpose? We have to tie in a new story. And so that's what I'll do is identify these things. And you can do this too. If you already know intuitively one of the beliefs that's been holding you back, I invite you to explore it, sit with it for 10 minutes and jot down whatever it is that's attached to it, even if it feels like it's not related at all. Once you see it, decide if you're ready to let go of that or not. If you are, use your own type of ceremony. I mean, some people use a shredder, some people use fire, some people flush it down the toilet. If you do that, I recommend that you break up the paper. Otherwise, you're going to need an emotional plunger. But once you do that, decide, what am I willing? What is the truth? Because most of these beliefs are just one perspective that we understood. Okay, what's another perspective? What did that experience mean? Oh, it served me then, but I'm actually really resilient. I'm actually really resourceful. I'm actually very creative. That's why I get lots of ideas. So let's take a belief. If somebody says, oh, I never finish anything, I get so many ideas and I start a project, I never finish. And so then my husband's like, you want to start another business? You want to start something else? And so then you're like, so then you think, oh, I never finish anything. Well, if we take that process, that belief, and through the process, we want to replace it. It's like, well, what is the truth? The truth is that you are willing to experiment to find the right thing for you. That when you are excited, you will start things. And so that tells you are a catalyst. And so you can say, wow, I'm really creative. I get lots of ideas and I'm testing what's right for me. Or I'm an awesome catalyst. That means I need to hire or partner up with somebody who is a systems person. They love the details. They love to map out how the thing's going to work out. I need to hire a finisher. Because here's the thing. Some of us wish that we could be finishers, but the problem with the people I've counseled with who are finishers, their challenge is they don't know where to start.
Mm-hmm.
they don't know what idea is good. And so they have their own self-talk somewhere else. They're like, oh, I have nothing to offer the world. You know, I'm too practical, or I'm too boring, you know. So I guess that's my long, rambly way of saying, find what is the truth of your gift. Find out what is the truth that serves you. And the truth is anything that allows you to serve and feel fulfilled, joyful, successful. If it doesn't have you feeling those things, you know it is not true. And what I mean by that is it's not true for you.
Yeah.
You were designed to thrive. So only the truth contributes to your growth and thriving. All right, that was a long rambly thing. So,
but it was beautiful and some really, really practical advice. I think I need to find some finishers.
Oh, me too. That's exactly what I was thinking.
I totally relate to that. I cried years ago that I was like, I know so much, but I'm like the Jane of all trades, you know? So,
yeah. Well, yeah. You find them. You have to share. I'm telling you, when they come to you with those problems, you just share them, and we will make them occupied for the rest of their lives.
Oh, I know a lot of finishers. I've been attracting them into my life. I'm like, okay, God, you called me to this business. You called me to serve these people. You know who I need on my team, right? Mm-hmm. So I don't know what your spiritual background is, but let's take like a historical figure like Jesus of Nazareth, right? Supposedly he could do anything, but yet the first thing he did was get a team of 12 guys.
Brilliant.
What? Is it because he was dumb? No. It's modeling, you know, any great leader has their captains, it has their privates, it has the people who serve and support the vision. So we don't have to be, we are super women. That's why we get a superhero league, right? A Justice League of our own. So.
And you had a gift for us, didn't you?
Yeah. So if you go to, are you putting up a link, Mathia?
I did. Yes. I put in the link a little bit ago, but I can do it again.
Yeah.
I don't know what link you're using. So let's look.
I was linking just to your main webpage.
Do we have a,
the New Money Mama? That one?
Yeah.
Perfect. If you guys newmoneymama.com, and you can see my name is right up out here, newmoneymama.com. I have for you is the 3 money mistakes made by every woman and 3 simple ways to adjust for abundance now. And this is a really practical guide. I really point out the 3 main problems that every woman makes with money. And then I give you at the end of each one, the thing you do to like reverse that or to resolve that. And you'll start to see money quicker than you actually will be expecting. I get a lot of emails about this one. It's like, oh, I already found $300, or I already found whatever. So just do that to start adjusting how you relate with money. You've got to have a healthy relationship with the entity of money so that you don't repel it. And that's what I do in that guide.
I'm so downloading that guide.
Well, I think one of the ways you can identify sometimes the voices when you were explaining what you do with people is when you say out loud or to yourself, I'm not X. Mm-hmm. You know, I used to say, I'm not creative. I'm just not creative. I'm very practical. I'm not creative. And then I thought about that and I thought, it's not that I'm not creative. I'm just not art type. I don't put colors together and plaids and stripes and stuff like that. But I'm very creative in my business. I put together lots of different things. So I don't, so I think that was one way I identified some of the things. And when you said that, it reinforced to me that, you know, those are the things I need to be looking for. When I tell myself I'm not something, I need to question, is that really I'm not that? Or did somebody at some point in my life put me in a box and say, you're not this type of person?
Yes.
And I listened, and that's what I have been telling myself over.
Yeah, I'm giving you props for that. Right on the ball, right there. Yes, absolutely. You know, I remember crying to my dad. I was a teenager, right? And we were at church, and I used to get, it was a lot of old people, And there's a pair of sisters there that had dark eyes and dark hair like me, and they had awesome voices, and they would sing in church, and people would come to me after that performance and go, "Oh, you sing so beautifully," and I'm like, "That's not me." And I went home on the ride home, and I said, "Dad, I have no talent. I don't have a real talent. I can't sing. I don't play the piano. I don't paint. I don't play soccer, like all the other kids at church do or at school." And my dad's like, "What? You're talented. You're a good teacher. You're a great speaker." Like, sometimes they would ask me to speak at church, right? And I was like, "Well, that's not a real talent, Dad. People can make money from just like being a good speaker, And so it was funny to me. I think it was like 2 or 3 years ago. I remembered that conversation. I'm like, I get paid to present, and I get paid to speak. I get paid to train people, and I get paid well for that, and I'm good at it. So it's interesting that you didn't think you were creative, but the thing is that it just looks different. It looks different for every person. We have a blind spot to our talents. We do. Mm-hmm. We do, because we're looking out and our talents within. So we're already looking in the wrong direction. Also, I believe we're going into a higher consciousness in entrepreneurship. And think about the jobs that exist today that people get paid for that didn't exist when you and I were in high school.
Not even that.
Absolutely.
Nobody could have thought of them,
We're like, like the jobs that exist today, it's like, really? We would have been like, no, whatever. I don't even know what that job is. It doesn't exist. And so we bring gifts that we can be paid handsomely for, just because it is the time for those gifts to come out. The way that we talk with people and connect with people, we attract different people to us. There are people looking for more meaning, more passion in their lives, no more of this like just work for the money. There is a shift in entrepreneurship. There is a shift in how people want to relate to the world. They want to relate to themselves, and they want to relate to community differently. So sometimes we just don't recognize our talents because we're comparing to what we already know, what we've known, what the past has been. But look at it this way. The people we're going to reach and the way that our businesses are going to morph in the next year, and even in the next 5 years, it's going to be in a different way you didn't imagine. You didn't imagine for yourself. Yeah.
I love it. Well, we have had a blast talking with you today.
Yes, thank you so much.
I know time is running out. So we've got the link up there for your goodie. And what else, Mathia?
I wanted to mention that I'm putting the link for beach camp. Beach camp is coming up in, I think it's like 22 days. Women's only beach retreat on Daytona, but it fits in really well with what we've been talking about tonight. So I thought I'd mention it because you could meet Raven, and it's another way to kind of get that tribe, hear from other women. They have a day where you sit around at tables and you get to talk about different things going on. And so I put the link to there. It's April 8th, 9th, and 10th. It's in 22 days, 13 hours, 20 minutes, and 35 seconds. I see on the screen. So, but if you're in Daytona, you're going to be in Florida around those days and you'd like to go, consider it. It's like a 2-for-1, buy one, get one free. And it's just a way to have a tribe, to meet some other people that are doing similar things to probably what you're doing. If you're a woman, so
girls only.
Anyway, that's our time. And I really have had a wonderful time listening to you, Adhis, and I hope that you've enjoyed our show, and we look forward to talking again next week. We're going to have Brian Basilico next week.
Bacon,
and you'll understand that next week when you hear his show. So thanks, guys.
Awesome.
And the magic word tonight, for those of you who are waiting for it, is beach, because of the Beachpreneurs next month. So
Beach.
Beach. All right. Well, thank you, everyone.
I had good light at the beginning of the show, and then the sun's gone down, and I haven't gotten up to turn on my light in my office, and now
Daylight savings time
So
strikes again.
I know. It's another daylight savings time problem. Yes. Okay. Talk to you guys later.
Okay, bye. Thank you so much. Have so much fun.
Bye-bye. Thank you.